Hi everybody, my name's Amanda, and I have the pleasure of being on stage today with Satya from Pega Cloud, and we're here to talk about the lessons from Pegasystems OpenSearch journey. I'm an OpenSearch ambassador, and I also run the developer and open source engagement team at NetApp Instaclustr. A really cool thing about my job is that I get to talk directly to customers to better understand how people are using technology. And in this case, we're here today to talk about OpenSearch and to give back to the community lessons that we learned so that we can continue to thrive in this learning environment that OpenSearch Foundation has created. And who do we have in the room today, just so we have like an idea? Do we have any engineering folks? Yep. Product management? Support? Any support people out here? No, not today. Community folks? Nice. Any sales and marketing people? Wow. Is there anything that I missed? Analysts? Devrel? Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining today. I'm glad that we have a good mix in the room, and hopefully this leads to some good Q&A. If you have a burning question during the presentation that you want to ask, go ahead and raise your hand. Otherwise, we'll do all questions at the end. And so today, what we're going to go through here is we're going to take a look at agentic AI in action. We're going to learn more about who Pega is and their customers' #1 focus, which is search. We're going to take us through the journey and look at the infrastructure before that Elasticsearch to OpenSearch decision was made, and we'll take a look at that after and what that looked like with Instaclustr. We're definitely going to go into our lessons learned in hoping that we can give back those to other people who are looking to do this. And then we'll touch a bit on the partnership that we have together. So with that, Satya, would you like to introduce yourself and take us away?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Satya Mishra, and I lead the cloud product management teams at Pega. My teams are responsible for building out the underlying Pega Cloud infrastructure that enables Pega to offer AI-powered workflow automation software to some of the largest enterprises of the world. And I'm excited to be here to share among fellow creators and problem solvers and share what Pega has been up to in the AI world, and of course talk about our partnership here. I was talking to Amanda the other day that I have been always associated with the CRM industry. In fact, one of my earlier jobs was to work at a contact center as a customer care executive. You know, I used to have a phone and a headset and a computer. People would call in, early 2000s. I remember my early days, and customers would call in and say, I want to update my phone number before I could say something. I have sent you 5 emails before I could say something. Can you check my last invoice? I have made my payments. And I'm like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. But you know what? I was prepared. I had weeks of training, and I exactly knew how to respond. I'd go and say, may I have your phone number that you're calling from? And what they don't tell you is that I had that phone number 2 minutes ago. I had opened 15 tabs, opening different records of their invoices, their account details, the emails they have sent. I was manually correlating everything and preparing my answers. So how about today, live on stage, we build an application for that telecommunications industry and solve this problem.
All right, let's do it. And here's to the internet working.
My fingers are crossed.
And the screen's working. And the screen's showing us what's on the internet.
Well, it's not coming up.
And I'm really unclear why the screens are black. But if there's somebody from AI standing behind me and can make the screens work again, that would be great. And if not, of course, we have backup. We have recording and then also slides available to go through this if there's nobody back there from AV who can get these screens to work.
Do you see that on your local screen?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
You need to move it over to your external desktop where it's being displayed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Windows P, and then try.
It literally worked when we got up here to make sure that it worked.
got it.
Okay. Woo. All right.
So we are going to build a blueprint. This is something you can all try after the session today. So we're going to head over to pega.com/blueprint.
All right, let's do this.
We're going to create a blueprint by clicking on the icon on the top right.
All right.
So we could choose any industry, but for today, we're going to choose communications. And we can build applications for any of those verticals out there. We're going to click next. We're going to select consumer telecommunications. We're going to select our department, say customer service. We can upload supporting assets. So for example, if you had an old COBOL application that you want to migrate, you could upload your documents, you could upload your manuals. But for now, we are good. We're going to click next. We're going to type in the application purpose and the functional description. For now, we can choose customer service for communications. And we're going to call ourselves U+ communications. And we're going to say location, United States.
Okay.
So the blueprint agent is applying years of Pega best practices that we have compiled over 30 years for different verticals. It's then reaching out to the industry best practices and applying them. If you uploaded your assets, it's going to apply the uniqueness that your application would be. And it's architecting the underlying data model, and it's figuring out the personas that is needed for your application. And it's going to build all these nice workflows that your customer service application needs. When think about the workflows a customer service application would need. I want to upgrade my plan, I want to add a new customer, I want to look at invoices. So in a moment, I think it should be ready for us to look at what it has generated. Now at Pega, we believe that the AI has to be predictable. It has to be reasonable. So you can see that now our blueprint agent has figured out all these workflows that this application needs, like disconnecting a service, pausing or resuming the service, managing a billing issue. So these are all the journeys that different personas would interact with the application. And we click next. It also figured out how the work needs to get done across different stages and steps. So if you hover on the upgrade device where it shows and see at all the different workflows it has created, and it has recommended all the necessary stages and steps. And if you click on the case data model for this, you can see that it has auto-generated all the tables on how this information would be stored. And yes, some of this will be sent to Elasticsearch. And we used to, I'm going to talk about more of that, but now we're sending this to OpenSearch. But yeah, let's click next.
Okay.
This is all the data objects. It can connect you. You can use Pega to store all the data objects, or you can use the data objects of your choice. And we go to the next screen. This is all the personas the AI agent has recommended. So you need a back office user, you need a billing specialist, you need a field service engineer. And let's hit next. what kind of channels you want to enable. You want to enable the voice channels, the email channels. I want to have message AI. I want to have voice AI in my application. And let's go next. Should we see how this application looks like?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's hit preview my app. So this is how the desktop application looks like. You can see that it has all your workflows, like upgrading the device. And if you click on the drop down from the top, you will see that it has all the workflows that you can play around. We can also see how this application would look like on the mobile interface by clicking on the mobile icon. So this is how it would look on the mobile. If you want to extend this application to Salesforce, then we have the Salesforce extender. If this application gets deployed on a contact center, then we can click on the contact center icon there, and you can see that this is how. I'll wait for it to click. Yeah. So this is the Salesforce extender, and then we also have the application deployed for a customer care executive, which I'm going to use in a second. So if you go to next, click on the CSR on the left-hand side. Yep. And let's go to web self-service customer on the left-hand side. Yep. So this is how, if you have enabled a self-service portal for your clients to interact with this application. So that's how it's going to look like. But that's not what we're going to be used today. We are going to use a conversational agent to interact with the application. So maybe let's type in what's my last invoice amount. And this is live. I hope it works. Yeah. Maybe we're going to upgrade our address. But do you want to type in a lot? Should we just call it in?
Yeah, let's just call. I'm over it.
Let's make a live call.
Okay.
Let's make a live call. Okay. So I'm going to call my application real quick. So if you do me a favor of creating that call us button on the top right. So I'm going to call to this application 417-220-7342. And if you could click on peek behind this interaction so that it shows. And I'm going to enter my code 982533.
One moment while we connect you to your Blueprint voice preview.
Welcome to U+ Communications Blueprint. How can I help you?
Hi, I have a bunch of things that I'd like to get done today. How about you tell me what's my last invoice amount?
I can definitely help with that. Let me look up your last invoice amount. Just to follow up about your question regarding your last invoice amount. It is $321 and...
Can I also update my address to 123 Mystic Street?
It seems there might be a discrepancy in the address number. Could you please confirm if the new address...
Yes, you're right. It's 123 Mystic Street.
Your address has been successfully updated to 123 Mystic Street.
And could I also add unlimited internet plan to my account?
The unlimited internet plan has been successfully added to your account.
Cool.
I wish this application was there, but how about, can you summarize all the things you did for me today in English?
Of course. Today, I provided you with your last invoice amount.
How about, can you summarize everything you did for me today in Spanish?
Claro. Hoy realicé las siguientes acciones para ti. Verifiqué el monto de tu último.
How about you summarize everything you did for me in Hindi?
आज मैंने आपके लिए.
Thank you, all right. So, we're going to head back to the slides, but this is what we have been busy with Pega. So let's try to understand more on the architecture behind the scenes and how we have been using OpenSearch. So that's Pega. To quickly summarize, you had a look at how the Pega blueprint generated an application, and I didn't have to write a single piece of code. Everything is auto-generated, and all I have to do is take that blueprint file, import that to my Pega Cloud subscription, and I can go live in days with an application for an industry that you guys are working on. And it can also migrate your existing legacy apps.
So now that we've seen Pega in action, what's the secret sauce behind Pega's architecture?
That's a great question. So what we see out there is a lot of the companies, they try to embed their business logic in channels. So they would embed their business logic in web channels, they would embed their business logic in mobile channels, and that's why you hear people complaining that I sent you an email, nothing happened, and now they're on this phone call and there is no relation between those conversations. So at Pega, the diamond, the brain, neatly arranges all the work in stages and steps and can work seamlessly across channel. So you can begin your journey through email, follow up on the phone call, and continue that experience on a conversational AI agent. And it encapsulates all the data that can be stored anywhere. Pretty much all the data sources are supported that can be encapsulated and be arranged in how work gets done faster.
So what's the scale of all this?
Yes, so we have 2 million unique monthly users that generate 1 billion cases a year, and we have over 7 billion interactions per month. We operate in 36 global regions across both Pega Cloud AWS and GCP, over 22 compliance certifications, all the PCI, ISO, 70,000 plus EC2 instances, and probably the application that you saw right now, it's getting updated as we speak.
Now that we know, more about who Pega is, if you are unfamiliar, let's talk more about your customers. You're trusted across, as we can see, some major players here across finance, healthcare. Can you tell us a little bit more about your customers and what they're doing?
Yes, so if you have opened a bank account, applied for a credit card, filed for a claim, shipped a package, most likely you have experienced Pega in your day-to-day lives. So that's all our customers right there.
And what's their top thing that they need?
Of course, it's search. At Pega, I think the whole journey begins with searching for a customer's record. You walk into the retail store, you call up their customer service. The whole experience, I think, begins with search. And I think this is one of the most important aspects of a Pega application.
And so if we break this down further, what are the key components within that correlate to your customer's need of providing fast but yet accurate search results?
I have a slide for that. So there are 2 diagrams on this slide. On the left-hand side is how we began our journey. So that's our older architecture. Your left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we have the newer architecture of our journey. So when we started building Pega Cloud, we had web nodes for web processing, we had batch nodes for background processing, we had decisioning nodes for storing our decision data store, and we use the Postgres database and file storage for storing client attachments. Now, we use Kafka for running our background processing. We use, at that time, we use Elasticsearch. We use embedded Kafka. But as our customers and our workload started growing, these embedded technologies that we had put in our batch nodes, we had to scale them out. So what we did was, a couple of years ago, we moved to the industry standard Kubernetes platform. And we also started extracting all these embedded workloads to their designated services. We call them backing services. So we saw LLM models coming in, we had file storage services, and then we started partnering with NetApp Instaclustr for providing managed open source technologies for us, which is the NetApp Instaclustr OpenSearch, Kafka, and Cassandra.
And can you talk us through how specifically you implemented the search piece of this?
Sure. So the NetApp Instaclustr solution provides us with two APIs. One is to provision the underlying clusters, and the other API is for the Pega application to interact with the Elasticsearch clusters. So Pega is responsible for creating and managing all the indexes inside these clusters. Now, we operate in highly regulated environments. So some of our communications compliances that is followed by our customers in telecommunications and across other verticals as well. They wanted to make sure that all these indexes that are being created, they are encrypted by a unique key per customer. So for that, we use the Portal 26 plugin that allows us to encrypt each index with a unique key for at rest and at transit.
So you talked a little bit about that you went from Elasticsearch to OpenSearch. Can you talk more about like how that migration was, and then can you share some lessons that you learned along the way?
I would love to. So as you would see that we have been having a lot of embedded technologies, and we wanted to convert all of them to externalize one using the OpenSearch. And I would say that a lot of our customers are running mission critical workloads 24/7. They cannot go down. And imagine you're calling into a contact center or you're walking into a bank branch, the application cannot be down. So we had a couple of options to figure out the migration. So we kind of partnered with the NetApp Instaclustr team to discuss our options. For some of the development environments, which had smaller data, we just triggered the reindexing. But for our production workloads, we had an index migration strategy. We migrated them beforehand, and then we had a production cutover. And during that time, the data would go into both the existing, the source and the target. And then one fine day, we'd just get rid of the embedded ones. So that's what we did for migration. Very carefully well planned in a maintenance window with zero downtime and no impact to your clients. The second I would say was the way Pega works is it kind of generates a lot of small indexes, but the volume of those indexes are very high. So we kind of, again, partner with the NetApp Instaclustr team to kind of aggregate all these indexes. So this had a better performance for us. And then, as I just talked about, that our use cases was to have encryption for every index. So that's what the Portal 26 plugin helped us with. So I would highly recommend that as well. And I think the most important part of this partnership was we were starting on a project recently. It's just finished. And we had to enable multi-region disaster recovery. Imagine failing over workloads from one region to another. Like your database has to fail over, your compute has to fail over, Kafka, Cassandra, search. So that's where we needed some enhancements to be made to the OpenSearch code base. And I think your team did a beautiful job to add the components for the cross-region replication to work.
So we just to take a step back, we got the request from a customer. Obviously, we looked inside to see what could be done, and we have an open source engineer that works in OpenSearch, and we went ahead and went in and put the code in upstream into the cross-cluster replication to make this work. We have, if anybody's interested in how we did that from a customer, it's either a bug or a feature enhancement, and then how we work with the community and merge that code upstream. There is a talk tomorrow at 1:50 that my colleagues Brian and Alex are going to put on and go into that further. It's important to us that as we work with customers, that everything that we do, that the community can benefit as well. So we are out there and working with others in that community. So after all of this, how would you say the partnership is going? And let's share some more here with what we were able to do.
I think I really love the people at NetApp Instaclustr. and you should meet them at the booth. They are kind of working with us hand in hand. So as I said earlier, we kind of operate in 36 regions. That requires a close partnership to certify every region with all our partners working. And we never had any issues with Instaclustr certifying a new region. They'll always walk with us and help us grow. So when we were looking at different vendors out there to choose, I think one thing that was very important to Pega was that the solution remains within Pega's accounts, so that we have complete oversight of the solution being deployed, how it's being processed, and the data should remain within Pega. And I think this is something that is very unique to NetApp Instaclustr. And we really love the fact that we own these accounts and the data is with Pega. The other thing that I really love is we have a unified experience across both the cloud vendors on both Pega Cloud AWS and Pega Cloud GCP. And right now we are partnering together on how to solve this for the government sector. So for the FedRAMP, we will be also using the FedRAMP compatible NetApp Instaclustr solution. And it comes with 24/7 support. So they are an augmentation of our existing support team, and they work very closely to make sure that we act as one unified support team for our external customers. And I would love the fact that every time we have formulated these strategies together where the NetApp Instaclustr support team would know which SOPs to execute to, let's say, resize the cluster or add more storage. So that I think that's working out very beautifully. And overall, I would say that it kind of simplifies the whole open source technology stack management for us.
All right, let's share some results. Some people want to see some numbers.
I would say great reliability, and the fact that this is multi-region disaster recovery compliant is kind of aligned to Pegasystems policies. I think we have saved tremendous amount of hours with this solution, and we kind of reap those benefits every year. So it's a one-time investment, and then we kind of continue to build upon that, saving that kind of 60,000 plus hours every year. And we're in the process of migrating over 1,000 plus nodes. And I think this whole automation is kicking in. We are able to migrate embedded workloads in Elasticsearch to NetApp Instaclustr OpenSearch solutions. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So this is our obligatory slide that we will need to include here. We've already gone through the value. At a very high level, NetApp Instaclustr helps customers operate open source data and search related technologies. And we have a focus on reliability at scale, working across clouds and on-prem. And with that, we have some resources. I think we have the blueprint QR code on the next screen. Here, if you'd like to look at Pega's blueprint more, there's a QR code. And as Satya mentioned, we do have a booth over here where we'll be at today if people have more follow-up questions that you don't want to ask in front of all these people. That's okay. And with that, I think let's open it up.
Yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Does anybody have any questions?
I could open the Blueprint app if you want to play with it.
Yep.
In fact, you can actually make a call from your phone and see how it works.
We have a question over here. Do you want to go into that more?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I want to repeat the question. So the question is, why did we move from Elasticsearch to OpenSearch? Mm-hmm. So I would say that when we started our cloud journey, we were kind of experimenting with a lot of different technologies. So we were having embedded Elasticsearch. Then we also at some point evaluated the OpenSearch, but our own implementation of OpenSearch. And as workloads of, I think, Kafka and Cassandra were kicking in, So I think that's kind of combination of different factors that made us look for a vendor that could help us manage all the different stack together. But also at the same time, I think OpenSearch was more performant, I think, and it worked out for us more beautifully. So yeah, that's how I would try to.
So basically, we're saying originally we shared an architecture environment. All that, there was Kafka, there was Postgres, SQL, there was OpenSearch. All of this were managed by NetApp. Nothing managed by NetApp.
So NetApp Instaclustr only helps us manage the Kafka, Cassandra, and Kafka. The rest is all managed by Pega. I'm sorry?
What did you say? Can you say those again? Which ones we do?
Oh, only 3. So we only leverage the NetApp Instaclustr solution for Kafka, Cassandra, and OpenSearch. So those 3 only. But the rest of it is managed by Pega.
And we were saying the data remains with you. What do you mean by remains with you?
That's an excellent question. That's an excellent question. So if you look at our stack, it has Kubernetes clusters. Right, so it has storage, it has I would say the RDS database. We use S3 for file attachments, and they are all deployed in a AWS account or GCP project that is owned by Pega. And the NetApp Instaclustr solution for OpenSearch or Kafka or Cassandra is deployed on our AWS accounts or GCP projects. So Pega owns those accounts. So we have complete oversight of how the solution is working, what it's doing. So that's what I meant by the data remains with Pega. It's not like I have to send the data outside Pega to a third-party service. That's not how it is. Yes, but you can think of they are managing this in Pega's AWS accounts, not in their own AWS accounts. Does that make sense?
And so basically, this whole OpenSearch is running in AWS, but in your account.
Yes. In Pega's AWS accounts, and if you're running on GCP, then it's Pega's own GCP projects. Yeah. So that's why I said that they are an extension of our support team. So we kind of give them restricted access so that they can support their technologies. So this way, I don't have to send the data outside the client VPC to a third-party service. It always remains with Pega.
We have another question right here.
Yeah, so in your demo, when you're asking the questions, whether in the chat or on the call, are you running queries on OpenSearch to retrieve the answers, or where's the answers coming from?
That's a great question. So the Pega stores a lot of case data in our Postgres database. And a portion of that data would go to Elasticsearch. It used to be Elasticsearch, and now it's OpenSearch for indexing. In this case, if I start using the conversational agent, I think it would go to the database, not the Elasticsearch or the index in OpenSearch. Because right now we have like mixed deployments. So. But as we are fetching it from the web interface, then it would go to OpenSearch.
Any other questions? All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming today. Thanks for engaging with us. It makes it easier to give talks up here. I hope everybody has an awesome day today, and we're around if there's any follow-ups. Have a nice day.
Thank you.